Hi everyone, and welcome to Sounds of Stadia, the new podcast based on all things Stadia. We just want to start by saying a huge thank you for searching us out and tuning in to listen whilst we get this idea up and off the ground. So thank you from myself and my fellow co-hosts in advance. This week on SOS Podcast we discuss what Stadia actually is and is it worth it? What we think of the tech specs overall. Is the games portfolio good enough? Who knows? Our gaming histories and much, much more. So without further ado, on to the show. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Sounds of Stadia in the podcast form. My name's Chris. I'm one of your hosts, joined by Tom. Hello, Tom. Hello. And Richie as well, who's also with us via digital Skype call. Hello. So this is the first one of these we've ever done. First time we've ever recorded. So excuse any novice mistakes that we do. We'll try not to speak too close into the microphone.
These mistakes might happen.
These mistakes will happen. We will have technical issues. That is a fact. We've not got the best recording equipment, but we'll see how it goes. So we basically, I think, want to start off with saying welcome. You'll find us on all the social media pages because we've gone out and tagged all them nice and early. But yeah, I think for me, it's just three friends, all really keen and interested in the up-and-coming Google Stadia platform. Both keen, avid gamers, I'd say that. So I thought we'd start the first episode off by giving a run-through of kind of what our gaming histories are, just to kind of kick us off. So I think before we delve into what Stadia is actually about, I'm sure if you're here already, you know a little bit about that. So I think we'll kickstart off. I'll go over to you, Tom, starting off at the top of the list. Just a bit about your gaming history and what brings you to Google Stadia.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been a big gamer, like probably everyone here, interested ever since I was of the wee age of 6 years old back in the day. First system was a Sega Master System, which was fun, and sort of got taken down the Sega route of things growing up. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog freak right here. Enjoyed it. Had a bit of a blast with that. As I grew up, I started getting really into PC gaming more than console. So I've been an avid PC gamer, particularly with the MMO market, playing a lot of MMORPGs, play a lot of JRPGs as well on console, and sort of dabbling in a bit of competitive esports type stuff as well. Things like Overwatch, League of Legends, that kind of thing that you usually see on streaming platforms.
Right. So you're our regular ninja streamer, are you?
I don't like
we'll
to use that name.
Streamer or ninja?
Streamer.
Yeah, remember when being a ninja was cool?
Yes.
Before it became a streaming platform.
Before it did, absolutely. Yeah. So that's a bit about me, but I'm really interested to see where Stadia takes us for the future of gaming, but we'll get more onto that later, really. So
yeah, certainly. I think I'm the same. Just to echo what you said, I was definitely a Sega kid. I think at the grand old age of 4, I think my father got us a Sega for myself and my brother, and it was pretty much Sonic the Hedgehog. I think Worms we had on it, Zero Wing, which is absolutely amazing. A bunch of games like that. And then I kind of went down the PlayStation route. I think I got one Christmas with my brother, and then it just became PlayStation through and through, all the way up to kind of now. We're rocking a PS4 at the moment, but really keen on Stadia, just down to pretty much what I do for a living, which is work out hotels for the most part. So the fact that I could take these games on the go with the power of 4G, 5G is going to be kind of groundbreaking for me, just when I'm on the road. And I think to complete the trifecta, I think, Richie, you're more of a Nintendo kid, aren't you?
Well, kind of, but I've actually bounced around a lot. My first gaming platform was actually Amiga 500.
Oh,
can't remember anything about it, so don't ask any questions.
I'd have to Google what that looked like because I can't actually visualize in my head.
It was basically like a PC, but the first console I do remember playing was actually a Panasonic 3DO.
Wow.
Bit of a niche one there. There was a couple of good games on that, but it was extortionate. And it never took off. Then I played a lot of N64.
It didn't take off?
No, the 3DO didn't take off.
So I'm not missing this big segment of the market.
No,
Forget Stadia, we're doubling down on Amigas and Commodores. That's it.
No, it was kind of up against like the PlayStation, that sort of era. Then I had N64 and PS2 simultaneously. Played quite a few games in there, which is where the Nintendo then comes into. Game Boy, which was massive for me because I used to go on a lot of road trips down to France. So sat in the back of the car playing my Game Boy.
Yeah, not backlit, so you're waiting for those street lights to pass you by so you can have 10 fractions of a second of game time before pausing it.
Well, I had a magnifier thing that had a light on it.
Oh, see, awesome. you clearly had more money than I had in my family back then. Then mine was just glass up against the window, waiting for them street lights to illuminate.
Well, I think my parents were happy and pay for it because when you're in the car for 20 hours, it's
that is true. That is true. Yeah, European choice. I suppose you actually, in light of all that, I suppose we should let anyone listen know that we're actually we're from England. If you can't tell by our accents. Because again, it's a global thing podcast. It may be people from deepest South Texas listen to us for all we know.
Welcome, Texans.
Welcome, Texans. Anyone out there? Welcome, Texans. I don't know why I went for Texas. That was a bit odd. But yeah, so I think collectively, the reason we wanted to start doing this was because we've got three like-minded gamers who are really keen on what the future of Stadia could bring to the industry. So I thought, we'd maybe delve a little bit into what Stadia is. So for those of you who've actually not done any research into it, or maybe thinking yourself, we've all invested in the Founders Edition, I believe. Is that correct?
We have, yes.
Yeah, we've all put our money where our mouth is to kind of commit to the future of it for now. Who knows where it'll go, but that's kind of what brings us to this point. I think looking briefly at the specs, we discussed just before we went live. Tom, you're going to be our tech guy. This is the label that we're going to just associate with you right off the bat.
Go-to tech guy. Okay.
Because you teach this stuff for a living, so it's definitely up your alleyway. Do you want to give us a breakdown of what all this gibberish actually means?
So in terms of the actual specs of the console itself, or of the way the system is going to be run, I guess we'll talk a little bit later on about what exactly is going to be, or how the system actually works. But if we just go through some of the specs very quickly.
We don't
want
any new Texans shutting off on us.
Oh, no. So we've got the data center runs some really nice processors. Compared to the current gen of consoles, it completely outperforms them. I'll go into a little bit more detail later, but all you need to know is that as of right now, the specs of the processors within the data center allows for everything to be, all of the instructions within the games or within the systems to be run very quickly. So on a much higher level than current tech actually allows us to do at home, unless you have a completely state-of-the-art gaming computer.
So your fortune.
Yeah, one of the other benefits of it as well is that because Google have control over the data center and you don't have to worry about having the hardware at home, it means that they will always be able to upgrade the components as well to allow for the latest generation, no matter what. So you're sort of future-proofing yourself in a way.
Yeah, there's no going to go out and buy a new box for another £400, $500, whatever the price may be, every couple of years.
Yeah, that's one of the things that attracted me.
Yeah, it's just like you said, future-proof. And I know on the stage when they did their Stadia Connects, they made a big deal about saying, comparing it to the current gen Xbox and the current PlayStation 4 Pro. In the amount of, I know they always throw teraflops around as a big term. It was just, it outperformed it kind of on the specification sheet, piece for piece. And like I said, the ability to update that on the fly without having to put a new box in people's houses is potentially crazy.
Well, let's focus on that one point just for a moment, talking about the term teraflops, right? We're talking about graphical capabilities in terms of what it can generate from a visual perspective. If you take the current gen consoles, the PS4, the Xbox One, you're looking at about 1.4, 1.8 teraflops there. By comparison, the Stadia is going to be outputting 10.7 teraflops. So we are looking at
flops.
A lot of flops. Yeah. An absolute ton of flops right there. So we can expect, absolute high-end visual elements from it, not limited by the hardware whatsoever. So thinking about buying a potato of a PC, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, there is one hardware limitation we're going to have, and that's internet ability.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's obviously, we know around the world it's not fantastic. I know in certain parts of our country it's not great. I think most people can shop around and get a decent spec speed. I don't know if you gentlemen have checked yours recently. I'm getting about 100 meg on average on mine, give or take. So I'm pretty confident about the quality I'm going to get from mine. Don't know about yourselves.
I'm quite happy with what I've got here. How about you, Richie?
I haven't actually checked what speeds I'm capable of because I only moved a couple of months ago, so I actually just took my package directly across and I haven't upgraded yet.
Okay.
But I know I can get, in my last place, I couldn't actually even get fiber, so I'm definitely going to get a lot better than I used to be able to.
Good. Yeah, so I know the basis of kind of the set it at is I think it's between it's 13 upwards is kind of the point you want to be at for the lowest kind of playable version, I'd imagine. 20 megabits per second, sorry, I think the quote for 1080p.
Yeah.
Which most households should be able to push that. Obviously, you pay for a premium. If you go for the basic cheap one, you might not. So come November, Richie, when it launches and you realise that you're stuck on 3.5 meg or something, this is when you'll bow out of the podcast, is it? Yeah, find someone new just to jump in, or pay for the higher package.
Yeah, you get your internet upgrade, and it's probably still cheaper than paying for the hardware for like a top end gaming PC.
Yeah, and this is
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, what we're talking about, the Founders Edition is £120. We're paying for 129. Yeah. If you compare it to the cost you're going to be paying for the next gen console, or again gaming PC, it just, to me, it just makes sense. Like, it just makes sense to buy something once, to be able to take it with you wherever you want to go, as long as you have an internet connection available, and that's it. That's the only cost, other than the Pro associated with it, the actual account. That's it. That's all you need to pay for.
Yeah, that's the Founders Edition is 119.
Okay.
119. Okay, yeah. So whatever that transfers to around the world as well, but still infinitely cheaper than any consoles we own, no doubt. Or like you said, a top end PC. So it is kind of that entry level point where anyone who doesn't currently have one, or is looking on the cusp of next year when next gen rolls out, do I want to put down another £400, £500, dollars, whatever it may be, yen, for this console? When realistically, as you mentioned, Tom, that it's future-proof Stadia because it runs from Google servers. So where's your money best spent? Just think of how much more money you could spend on the games in that regard.
Yeah,
which is
a huge saving. It's a huge saving.
Yeah, for reference, a PS4 Pro currently goes for around £320.
Yeah, so that's not really shifted, I don't think, since that came out. The Pro's kind of just setting a certain, and again, I know there's always going to be iterations, but I think the fact that this is all just done in the cloud essentially is insane. So I think definitely the specifications speak for themselves. The proof is almost, we're going to have to just wait and see, I suppose. That's how it's going to roll down.
Oh, definitely.
So I think looking at the actual packs themselves, so we've all gone for the Founders Edition, which I think part of that, we know we get the controller, we get the resolution up to 4K if our speed can cope with it. You get discounts off games, and initially you get the Destiny 2 full collection, I believe, which is going to come out with the new update that drops this week, I think.
Absolutely.
Either of you two Destiny fans?
I am. Yeah, I played the first one. I didn't have the opportunity to jump into Destiny 2 when it first came out, so I'm quite excited to have the entire package essentially on my doorstep the day that Stadia comes out.
Yeah, but I think Bungie have been fantastic with actually doing these iterations every quarter of the year almost when they bring out those new packs. And I think the Iron Banner and stuff like that, when that drops, I think it's a really good point of jumping back in. And I think now they've broke away from Activision, the power's definitely in their hands. So this must have been a great deal for them to land with Google. No doubt the Google money was there straight off the bat to say, he's X amount of pounds, dollars. Do you want to go exclusive to the Founders Edition launch pack? Which I think is cool. So I'm definitely going to jump in. I played a lot of Destiny 1, but like I said, Destiny 2 kind of never quite grabbed me. It just looked more of the same. But not going to turn down a free game to jump into and test out, especially if it's going to push this software, especially the 60 frames per second, which I think we all ideally want to strive for 4K.
Yes.
Yeah,
HDR.
so, exactly. Yeah. So let's just hope if they can do that via stream and via Stadia, then yeah, fantastic. Why would you offset the price for console with that? And I think you do get the Buddy Pass as well on the Founders Edition, which means you can donate it to somebody else.
It's 3 months, isn't it? 3 months of Pro you get with the Buddy Pass.
3 months of that. And then coming next year, you've got the Stadia Base, which is going to be their essentially free platform, which I think we can't deny that Google have always been really generous with giving away their software for free. When we think about Google Maps, Google Search Engine, YouTube, it's all essentially the base model is always free. So I'm really intrigued to see how this can roll out into games.
Stadia Base, you're effectively getting a games console for nothing. There you go, just buy your games.
Yeah, which is crazy because, like I said, if you're a family and you've got a couple of kids and they all want a console each, like you're talking a couple of grand to like keep that ticking over like year on year for all the games, the replacement controllers, all the peripherals that come with it and stuff. So the fact that the Stadia base is just go buy a controller, doesn't even have to be a Google controller. That's the ironic thing, is they've said it's all keyboard, mouse compatible, PS4, Xbox controllers. So they're really going open platform on this stuff.
Absolutely. It's I mean, to me, it's one of these things like, how can people, you've got to be excited by it because it's completely game changing. Look what Netflix did to the market for movie, TV, streaming. If and I hope this kicks off in the way that we all anticipate it to, then this is going to be a huge game changer, and it's going to be one of these things that Sony and Microsoft are really going to have to take a step back and start thinking about. How are they going to adapt to this change?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably the first thing in a long time that's put any real pressure on Sony and Microsoft to actually think about doing things differently.
Yeah,
I mean, look at
definitely.
PlayStation Now. I mean, Sony have had a go at doing it, but it's not really taken off the way that I don't use it personally. I'm a PS4 player, like you guys as well, but I've never really bothered with that sort of thing. But for some reason, Google Stadia has taken me and sort of made me think about things again. And it might be the way that they've sort of advertised it as being an independent product, as being something completely new, not as part of an existing package.
It's not caught in the weeds with like loads of legacy issues and prior kind of initiatives and everything like that. It is pretty much its own thing. I definitely think the others have got their thinking caps on, and there's no doubt stuff going on behind the scenes for next gen, which I'm sure we're going to hear about in the coming kind of months going into the turn of the year. But yeah, like you said, PlayStation Now is a weaker version of that. I know Xbox are dropping the beta for what their version, Project xCloud. Yeah, I know that's going to drop. I think imminently.
I think we can sign up now if we wanted to.
Yeah, so, well, we might as well. We'll test them all out. Like I said, I think the good thing with Stadia not being out yet is we can't be biased because we can't play it yet. Nope. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm still playing on my PlayStation because guess what? There's no Stadia games to play. But I think exactly. But I suppose that's a really good topic to switch over to then, is the actual games themselves. So being avid gamers for years, the list of confirmed games is kind of great as a jumping off platform. So I think just to run down the list of what we've actually got there. I know we've got them in our document, Google Doc, by the way, not sponsored by Google Docs, but it's like I said, it's a free source software, so we're jumping on it.
There's the man in the t-shirt.
Game list. I've copied out some of the ones that I've played personally on PlayStation and other platforms. Any standout for you, gentlemen?
I've highlighted a couple for myself. Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely standing out to me. Borderlands 3. I know you can get on PlayStation, but it's one I'm hoping will get cross-platform with PC later down the line, so I haven't yet jumped in.
On that note, actually, Richie, I'll be quite interested to see how Borderlands 3 performs on the Stadia, because I play it quite heavily on the PS4 at the moment, and it's not unknown that there are some performance issues on console. If you look at side-by-side footage from streamers, for example, of how it performs on PC versus on console, the PC version runs incredibly smooth, but there's a lot of issues on console. I'm hoping that by seeing Google Stadia, that'll also sort of remedy a lot of that, because it's essentially PC with the console input.
Yes, theoretically, as long as the internet's good enough, everything should be just smoothed out. It's probably just a game, because we're coming to the end of the console lifespan at the moment, it's probably a game that's probably a little too good for the hardware.
Yeah, it's really pushing it to its max. And like you said, anyone who's out there with a base model OG PS4 or Xbox, that thing must be getting stretched now when you think about the graphic fidelity and the frame rate and stuff that these new highly graphic kind of games are really pushing it to. I mean, look at that's like some of the videos that have came off of Cyberpunk already.
We're all excited for a bit of Keanu.
Yeah, can't doubt that. But yeah, it's literally pushing it to its boundaries. So you're right there, Richie, and saying like this kind of Netflix model of it's just coming from a insanely teraflopped card in some Google database center in the middle of nowhere. If Netflix can do it on 4K, the literal difference is just going to be the input, and if they can nail the input down, why wouldn't it be any less?
But I think on looking at the list, we've got a good list of both current generation games and stuff that hasn't come out. You've got things like Doom was one of the things that they've used in a lot of their demos, because it's such a high frame rate game, and go, look how well this plays.
Yeah.
And Bethesda seem absolutely in love with Stadia. If you look at the list of games, half the list of games is Bethesda.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. It's either Bethesda or Ubisoft kind of split between them. Yeah. Ubisoft go in on everything. Don't they? They love the Nintendo Switch. They love.
An interesting one is Square Enix have also got a few things on there. That could be interesting for things like Final Fantasy in the future.
Absolutely.
Well, there's one on there.
Yeah.
You've got one on there. Is it 9? Final Fantasy 9's on there?
15.
It's 15 on there.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I must have missed that.
Getting my Roman numerals missed.
I was looking at the Tomb Raider games and thinking, oh, well, Square seem interested.
Yeah, so I suppose out of the games on there, what have you guys played currently? Like, would you jump back into them? Do these entice you to check more stuff out?
There's a lot of stuff on that initial launch list that actually I never had the opportunity to try. So to have them readily available for me is very tempting. I mean, just going through that very quickly, I would personally, I know Richie's played, but I'd love to play Baldur's Gate 3. That's something that I'd be very very interested in playing there. At the moment, yeah, my partner's playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so I'm enjoying watching that. So
I could gush about Odyssey till the cows come home. I finished. So I got that on launch. And I platinumed it, I think we're probably back in November, not too long afterwards. But the DLC support for it has been phenomenal. They've dropped in free missions constantly, new story beats, new chapters, and the DLC took you all the way to Atlantis, into that kind of mythology, Greek mythology kind of aspect of things. But I did have that moment of realization when I got the last trophy to take me to the 100%, I think about 2 months ago, 1 month ago, whenever the last Atlantis pack dropped. And I looked at the difference between the Fest trophy popping and the most recent one, the last one, and it'd been nearly a year. And I think for a single-player game to keep me engaged in it for a year past release date is fantastic. And I think it's a big credit to how well Ubisoft kind of do the open world genre at the moment. But yeah, graphically it's amazing. They've added loads of content since. I think it is just a credit to them for their post-launch content launch, and it just really has me hyped for kind of what's around the corner with this. Because if they just keep things alive, I mean, we've seen how many games now are just continual play. They don't have an end; they just keep adding to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's fantastic.
Speaking of one of those sorts of titles that keeps you engaged as well, as I said before, big MMO nerd, Elder Scrolls Online, massive Elder Scrolls fan, but never tried the online version. So that's one thing that I'd like to see that experience.
I tried the ESO beta many years ago, and I didn't rate it at the time. But I know it's a very different game, so that is one I would be tempted to have another look at.
How long has that been around for now? Because I feel like I've seen it in like my peripheral vision advertised constantly, but I feel like it's never had like an actual launch date. Like here it is, packaged in a box, ready to go.
It's been out since 2014.
Forever. Yeah,
4th of April
2014.
That's crazy. So that's like a year after the launch of the current gen consoles, and just like I said, it's one that's always there. But yeah, I've never caught my eye enough to jump into.
An MMO to last 5 years must be doing something right, so it's probably worth looking into.
That is true. There's loads. I mean, just going down the list of what else there is. We've said Borderlands 3. Obviously, that's doing really well on reviews. There's pretty much a lot of Borderlands 2, kind of repackaged. I played a lot of Borderlands 2. Yeah. I know you play it with your brother Richie.
That's why I'm interested in Stadia, because my brother is predominantly a PC player. So this is why I was saying I hope they get the cross-platform sorted out, because I'd like to be able to play with him. This is actually why I've held off buying it for PlayStation.
But it is interesting you say that again, because going back to the idea of what Stadia is, it is a PC, it is a data center. So how does it perform from that perspective? Is it its own standalone console with its own standalone infrastructure? So the same way you would play games online on Xbox Live or on PlayStation Plus, is it going to be limited to itself, or because of the infrastructure, does it allow us to actually connect to PC initially? I suppose it depends on.
They have said initially it's not going to be there, but cross-platform in the game industry is a big thing at the moment. So I could see it happening. It's unless you're Nintendo, but Nintendo do their own thing.
They do. They always.
And they're great at what they do.
This is the same Nintendo that still doesn't have built-in voice chat, right?
No, you can download an app on your phone.
Yeah, it's not built in though, is it, Chris?
It's not built in, no, that's true, yeah. But I mean, we don't know what Stadia's going to be yet either. I know the controller has an audio jack port there, so I presume you just plug a microphone or your piece in and you're good to go.
A lovely midnight blue controller.
I'm just kind of assuming to be like the PlayStation one, where you just plug your headset in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, again, like in the light of kind of making everything as easy as possible, I think they're going to want to launch with everything being seamless. I don't think they're going to add any overly complicated things in for unnecessary reasons.
Yeah. The interesting thing is we haven't seen anything about the UI yet.
No. Yeah, I think that's what the next. I was saying to Tom before we started the Stadia Connect. There must be another one of them imminently due because the launch is almost a month. I mean, it's October in 2 days.
They haven't actually confirmed the release date yet, so
no, it's just November.
It's just November.
We've got a rumor of it being November 12th based on some shop updates that were in the mix there, but
yeah,
whether that's just speculation or not, who really knows?
I mean, yeah, if the Project xCloud beta is going live, they're going to need to I think hit the ground kind of before everything kicks off.
The problem for mid-November launches is going up against Pokemon.
Yeah, that is true. Everyone's on them Switches. Getting it over. You're getting it, aren't you, Richie? I think.
I haven't pre-ordered it, but I will be getting this.
Sword. I'm definitely getting Sword for that. Far-fetched, I think.
Well, this is why I haven't pre-ordered. I'm waiting to see which gets the coolest Pokemon.
Oh, that sold me. Totally sold me. No, even though a Sword's much cooler than a Shield, I was always going to get it. But still, that's just cemented my idea. Which hopefully we'll never get it on Stadia, but you never know. This is the thing with Google being new. It's who do they go to for these deals? Like you said, Square Enix, another group of games that's clustered in there, is the pretty much entire reboot trilogy of Tomb Raider. Finished all them. I think I've got the platinum trophy for all 3 of them, so finished to completion, except for the challenge packs. There, Joe.
So these are 2 games I'm looking to jump into that I haven't. They've been on my list for
highly
ages.
recommended.
Rise and Shadow, just.
Yeah, so they are in their own right fantastic games. They've just been marred with loads of problems. I think the first one got loads of critical acclaim. And then the second one had that Xbox exclusivity, which kind of messed up their launch. I think it confused a lot of people, it put a lot of people off. Obviously, unless you had an Xbox. But I think it got kind of masked because it didn't come out when Fallout 4 dropped. I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So I think it totally ruined its launch by coming out when such a massive game also dropped.
I think that was the for me. Both came out against bigger titles.
That's it. That's the risk you take. Like if them games came out in, I think the March, April kind of quieter windows. They'd have done fantastic, but yeah, I think coming out Christmas time with your big hitters, I think it's a bit of a risk. But I think having them all there from launch to pick and choose from at the highest graphics and frame rate, totally recommend. Fantastic single player games, a couple of challenges on the side, but it's essentially if you've played the Uncharted games and you like them, it's just more of that with good old Lara Croft.
You touched on an interesting point there, though. You mentioned about like Christmas releases. So we're obviously going to see Stadia this side of Christmas as well. And we're not really seeing any sort of other competition in the market for tech other than what the Switch Lite that's coming out, or has it come out now?
It's out in America.
It's out now. Yeah. So we, Google essentially this year have, as far as hardware goes, that they have the dominating element in the market there really as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things go this year in that sense, how they're going to market it. And
I'm intrigued to see how if they're going to go into brick and mortar stores, are we going to see it on the shelves in GameStop for you people in America?
It makes sense to get the controllers out there.
Well, that's it. You kind of I know you can buy it from the Google store, but the reality is they probably won't be on Amazon because Amazon and Google don't play ball with each other. You can't buy any of their home products on Amazon. So is it literally going to be diverting people to the Google store online? And if so, that's limiting their kind of visibility out
on
there.
On the launch, I think you'd want to be everywhere.
Yeah. That's it. You want it in your local Tesco's, Asda, Walmart, whatever place you shop at. You want it on that kind of corner point in the aisle saying, look what this is, with a little small poster just simply saying, you have internet, buy this controller, go. Like that's as simple as it.
Just a Chromecast stuck in the back of a telly.
Yeah, I mean that's the reality. That's the fantastic thing it is, and that's why I'm so hyped for it. Is I can just jump from TV to TV with a Chromecast stick. I can just jump onto my tablet, onto my laptop with that controller, or any Bluetooth compatible controller, and you're good to go. The limitations are so far and few. It's huge.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a rollout process, isn't it, when it comes out? So it's going to be specific to the Chromecast at first, but then the browser rollout is coming eventually. Chrome browser. That's my understanding.
I know the Chrome browser one was part of the beta that they trialed last year. I know people were playing Odyssey when that launched initially,
which is what we also saw in the Connect, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the stuff they showed there when it just jumps between them. So I'd imagine that's the kind of base launch plan. But yeah, who knows what the rollout is? Hopefully, if they do this Connect, we'll find some more finalized details of what it's going to be.
Please, Google. Please give us something good.
Just don't mess up the launch. You can only do it once.
I'm currently flicking through a list of games to come out this year, and the only thing that's jumped out at me is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Brilliant. There's nothing else, apart from Pokemon, which you already mentioned, there's nothing else basically between now and Christmas.
Okay.
That's the kind of one of the things looking at the games list is missing, unfortunately, because I think the likes of Ubisoft and EA and Activision are kind of missing. You are missing those marquee kind of winter titles like your Call of Duties, your FIFAs and stuff. They're not on there. Which do we think that'll limit it somewhat? Because these are the people who go out and buy these games religiously year on year. Is not having them in your portfolio going to hold you back a little bit going into Christmas? Because these are the kind of shoe-in games that every teenager is asking for their parents for, up and down our country specifically.
Yeah.
Like, is not having them going to be a problem, do we think? Or do you think it's just a matter of time before Activision and them give in and say, you know what, this is a great concept, let's back these as well? Because the other guys
anticipate it to be there next year, to be honest. If Stadia goes well the first year, I think Activision and EA will be looking at it and going, okay, this is now worth our effort.
Yeah, they're probably just going to sit back and just gauge the initial interest first, and then probably go from that point on.
Yeah, they've got
might even come
one
out
toe in the
later
water.
in the year.
It could do. I mean, what are we talking about in terms of actually porting it over from console across to Stadia? I mean, there is going to be some work involved. I know behind the scenes they talked about at the Connect that when they start launching their own platform, which I believe is in the work, I can't remember the name of it, for developers for Stadia, they're going to make it so it's very easily transferable across using their code base, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, thankfully most games now are based on PC architecture, aren't they? That's why the PS4 was such a godsend to the developers, because the grief they used to have with the old PS3 with their cell processor really just used to mess it up. Your little laugh there, Tom, is the cell processor really that bad, is it?
It was one of those that it really sort of hindered. I think it hindered that console, as Richie was just saying. Then the Xbox 360. I think we have to say that the Xbox 360 won that generation, and it's just because of that architecture, in my opinion.
And in terms of mindshare and how much easier it was to create games for, it definitely got a lot of pros right on that one. Which is interesting. Like you said, the porting process. I think looking at the games list again for me. One of the questions I had for you two was, which older games would you like to see ported? I mean, we've been in a generation of remasters. I feel like nearly every game I played over a decade ago has been repackaged somehow for this generation. And you know what? It worked, because I probably went out and bought them all. I've got the Ghostbusters pre-order locked in for this October as my Halloween game. I'll no doubt pick up Medieval as well. All these old games. Crash Team Racing. It's one of those things where they know what they're doing with these IP, repackaging it. Is it going to be that hard for them to go back and just go through the back catalogue of amazing games and Google just sit there with their Google money and just dish it out and see what they can get? Because there's a lot out there which I'm pretty sure a lot of people would jump onto in this kind of digital world now and just think, I had that couple generations back. Why not? What would you like to see on it?
The first one that jumped out at me is probably something that I feel like should be already there, and that's the enhanced editions of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
Okay.
Because you can actually play through on Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, you can play through your character all the way through 1 and port it straight into 2 and keep going. And with Baldur's Gate being such an upfront launch title for it, having 1, 2 bang into 3 would be an awesome way to go.
Yeah.
I'd definitely play through them again.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I think they've got this almost like tapas style. Once this kind of Google UI goes live, I'm picturing it like Netflix. It's just going to be loads of tabs with loads of games ready to go. And like you said, if you dropped into Baldur's Gate, how great would it be if it just had 2 and 3 and you can just like a la carte choose what you want to play and jump in the other games? It's weird that they've got Watch Dogs Legion coming out, but no Watch Dogs 2 or 1.
Yes.
Like, are they tied up in other licenses? Or you'd think, because again, Tomb Raider is a fantastic example. You've got all 3 variations of the reboot part in there, which means if you're going to jump in to play them, surely you're going to start at number 1. And then work your way through them, depending on where your history is with the games. But there's a lot of stuff. Rage 2's in there. Obviously, Rage 1 is a lot older, so no doubt that's probably why that hasn't. But Doom Eternal's going to be there.
Doom's
Destiny
in the
2
list.
or Destiny 1.
Doom
and it's a bit weird. That's what I'm saying. So they've done it for them too, but not the other games, which is bit weird. I know you mentioned Final Fantasy. There's a lot of a back catalogue that can whack on.
I think this might be more of the publisher's decision where things like if you've got, say, the Division 2, for example, you've got that on the platform at launch, do you want to bring out the Division 1 and cause more competition for yourself when you could just bring it in later?
True. Yeah, but again, it might just be timed. They might all be set there with their little timer countdowns ready to go and just say, I tell you what, we'll launch with these games. If we sell X amount of copies, Mr. Developer, we'll put your older games on and just kind of breathe new life into those franchises.
I think that's going to be it. I think it's going to come to a point where they will look at the sales. They'll look at the sheer amount of numbers that are accessing certain games, and they'll be like, right, clearly there's a demand there. Let's pump some more out. Let's go for it. Right? Let's go back through the catalog. Let's start getting these things rolling. But it is a very interesting point that you say. Tomb Raider is the only one there. Is the only one in that initial launch.
The reboot of Doom has got 1 and 2, but Tomb Raider is a full package. You've got literally their entire reboot catalog there. Whereas all the other ones that you can pick out, like the Division's 2 there, but 1 isn't.
But with Tomb Raider, none of the games are new in the last, like, when did the third Tomb Raider come out? Was it like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
So then it's not really getting in the way of its own sales.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. It might be testing the water to see new one, actually.
Yeah.
There's another Square Enix we're all working on. I think they moved that team over to the Avengers game. So depending on how that's going to go. But yeah, is there any particular old ones you'd like to see on there?
Oh,
quite a few I can think of.
We could be here for hours.
Yeah, I mean, I've just picked up the Batman Arkham collection. It's like Warner Brothers, where you're at. Get yourself on there.
I just want my Dark Souls. I want my Bloodborne. Bring it over. Come on.
Well, Bloodborne's a bit of an ask, though.
I don't think you get Bloodborne. It's PlayStation exclusive.
Well, this is it. If it's second party though, because it's I know it's one of the ones that were made by second party. So you've got the likes of Until Dawn and stuff.
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human. They're now going on to PC. So what's the chance of them?
Surely the exclusivity. It only lasts for a certain contract period though. It's not. It's like if we look back at going back to Tomb Raider. Sorry to keep talking about it, but that was for a limited period with Xbox, with Microsoft before. Yeah. So I'm assuming those contracts still exist there. I know we haven't seen Bloodborne on another console yet, but I don't know. Does the power of Google break those contracts eventually? Does it then take precedence?
I doubt it. I think the contract with Sony is probably fairly substantial if Microsoft haven't been able to get hands on it.
That's the difference with Bloodborne. That was published by Sony, so it's very much in their wheelhouse. They probably own the rights to that IP.
Fine. Give me the Dark Souls
and stuff. Yeah, just go for another Dark Souls. Or just do another one. Sekiro is supposed to be really good as well.
Yes.
So get that one, Sekiro, whatever that one's called. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just think these back catalogs they can really just jump into because Google are so new to it. They've kind of got no allegiances. They've got no fan base that's like screaming, you can't have that as an exclusive because it's unique to PlayStation. I mean, look at the uproar when Crash Bandicoot and Spyro came out on Xbox and Switch. You've kind of got these people like, oh no, it'll always be a PlayStation mascot. Yeah, you know what? It might, but that was 20 years ago. There's like a new generation coming through now. And if these people are jumping on board with Stadia, like, just play ball. Like I said, they've got that Google money. The bigger they get this portfolio, if it is like Netflix, come January, February, are they going to sit there and just be like, you know what, January, easy games drop for January. There's 6-7 new titles that you've heard of. They're all great games. And I suppose, if anything, they can be really picky and choosy about what they kind of collate for this list now. They can just go back and just pick the absolute gems out of the pile. They don't need to fill it out with rubbish.
No.
It could literally just be the games that are getting all the 8s, 9s, and 10s on the reviews.
I'm sure we've got people like monitoring things like Twitter and just seeing what games that people are going, I'd love to have this on Stadia.
Yeah, like
we'll throw some money at that. There's enough interest.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It could do with some more indie games, actually. There's not really... I mean, there probably is going to be indie games, but there's not really pushed anything in their marketing.
No, I'm glad you've said that because I was going to talk about sort of like an indie developer platform. What are we going to see in terms of like user created content and so on? How is that going to integrate into Stadia? I'm assuming we will see indie titles because it would be stupid of them to not allow independent developers to publish their games for it.
They work so well when you're on the go as well. So, like, Chris, when you're in hotels and things, that's a good time for indie games.
Yeah, but especially if it's going live. I know it's going to launch with the range of Google's Pixel phones. Google usually make announcements in October for their Pixel phones as well, so no doubt doubt around the 7th, 8th of this year on October. Next, probably like a week or so from now, we're going to get an announcement no doubt for the Pixel 4, probably their new Pixelbook Chrome laptop, and I'd imagine it's all going to tie in with the launch of Stadia. And I know it's exclusive to the Pixel range initially, but yeah, you said indie games. They're the type of ones where when you do have a spare half an hour while you're waiting for the other half to finish getting ready and go out, or you're on a bus or you're on a commute, or yeah, you just chilling out and you don't want to delve into something big. Imagine the ability to just open it up on your phone or your tablet and then bang, you're just ready to go. And I think indie titles really serve well to that because some of the levels are like so short little bursts, like 3, 4, 5 minute levels. I can't imagine it's a division that they're just going to totally ignore. It's definitely probably there, but I think they want these marquee names initially, just so when people click on Stadia, open up that UI, they're hit with Cyberpunk, Tomb Raider, Watch Dogs, Wolfenstein, like these big names that are in the game and kind of ethos. Whereas if it starts rocking up with Castle Builders 7.3, you're not really gonna. It's not really gonna kind of shout quality and stuff.
You know what I'd kind of like to see? Just a Stadia Connect just before launch, and just go right. The Stadia Connect is just going to be indie games. We know we've ignored it, but here you go.
There you go. I'm sure they'll do that at one point.
Yeah. If you think how well the Switch is done with indie games, it'd be stupid for them not to push it at some point. It might not be day one launch, but.
It's coming. It's
coming.
Now, I mean,
here's another question for you on that point then. So talking about indie games, we saw it with the Xbox Store, but less so with the or with Steam as well on PC, but less so with the PlayStation Store as well. How do you feel that Google are going to deal with self-published titles? So like opening it up to Joe at home who's developing his own game and wants to make 79 pence out of it and wants to push it there. Do you think Google will allow that? I'm sure they'll have some sort of system in place to obviously like quality test it and so on.
You'd say that, but there's a lot of rubbish on the other platforms as well, and I think the problem is if it's not managed, it can become like the mobile market where it's just flooded with absolute trash. And like you said, Joe's wanting to make his 79p title.
That's
where does it come down on?
We haven't mentioned.
There's always
Google
a place.
Do have a gaming platform in the Google Play Store.
That is true. I'd be really worried if they just suddenly went, you can play all your mobile games via a controller, because that would just, unfortunately, I think it would tarnish the kind of brand that they're going for, which is this AAA gaming experience. Like, no disrespect to mobile games, they have their place in the world, but they're definitely, I think for anyone who's grew up with games, they're definitely a lesser... put my neck on the line. That's anyone who plays mobile games. Really sorry, but put your phone down and play a proper console.
This is
put your phone down, get your Switch out.
Absolutely, this is where the two markets clash, though, isn't it? Really, and Google have to sort of make a decision internally for the Stadia as to, is this going to be tailored more towards the hardcore gamer or more towards the mobile gamer? Or do they find a nice niche in between? Because if you do, how do you hit that spot? How do you hit that sweet spot right in the middle without sort of tarnishing?
For me, I think they're closer actually in a hardcore version of the Switch. To be honest, with it being you can play this on the go because you can just pull out your phone and go and play. But when you're at home, you've got a full-blooded hardcore gaming machine there. So I think they've already gotten the App Store on Google Play for mobile devices. I think they'll just stay clear of that. Just these are two independent things. That's not that we don't need them to cross.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good play for them. I think keep it as AAA, but eventually, because it is mobile on the go. It could even be something as simple as when you boot the browser up on a mobile device, it gives you the option to link in with the Android Play Store and play your games via that.
Stadia app on your phone.
Yeah,
there we go.
Most likely. Because that'd be the ideal thing. So, but but personally, I would like them to keep it as top quality as possible initially at launch, and really just like kind of pad it out, see how it goes, and then kind of work stuff into it from there. But I don't think they'll ignore indies.
Curation's going to be key.
Curation's always key, especially if I think moving on to the next subject for me was the trophy or achievement system they're going to have to go in with all these amazing games that we play.
Absolutely.
How are you two on achievements and trophy hunting and stuff? Is it a big deal for you guys, or do you not give a damn?
You know what? I've just actually rolled credits on Link's Awakening this morning. I would love that game to have trophies.
Just that little satisfying ping at the end to say, you know what, you've committed your life to this game. Congratulations.
Well, we know Chris.
Now go outside and get some fresh air.
Captain Completionist over here.
So I can't help it.
No, I know. It's one of those things that, I mean, I enjoy the feeling of getting achievements. I enjoy getting trophies in games, but it's nice to see it ping up. But I've never been much of a completionist in that sense. I love playing games, but I just find myself not having enough time to complete them to the extent that some people do. But
if you could take it on the go, Tom.
Yeah, this is true.
You've got all the time in the world.
What about you, Chris?
Play at work.
I think for me, it needs an achievement system. Just like you said, it's not necessarily because it needs it just to keep these OCD people kind of just clinging on, playing hours and hours, grinding out just to get X amount of kills or something like that. I think for me, it's just it creates a nice level of structure for the game that outside of the actual story, it makes you explore the world. I think a lot of the trophies that pop up in Ubisoft games, you end up seeing aspects of the map or the world, or you meet characters that otherwise you could have skipped if you were just playing the main campaign.
Yeah,
and you've got to remember, developers. I was going to say developers have spent hours and hours, days of their lives toiling over crafting these little detailed niches of the world. And 90% of the people who play it don't even see it. So I think usually the trophy list ties quite nicely in with how the developers want you to see the game. So when it is like a secret hidden trophy for go and see so-and-so at the top of a hill somewhere and throw them off or whatever it might be in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I interacted with that character. I got that storyline. I appreciate it because it was written, crafted, dialogue was done, it was recorded, the characters were designed. It was all crafted to give that experience. And if it's missed by 99.9% of the player base, then it was kind of like, well, why did it exist in the first place? I think it's all about curation, as you were saying, Richie, because there's some games out there with terrible trophy lists.
Oh, God.
It just becomes a grind, and they're the ones, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of games I just switch off on and just think I'm not even going to bother trying that. Yeah. But others I like to show it as a sign of respect to the developer that I like their game so much that, you know what, I'm going to 100% this just for you.
I think a big example of that for me was God of War on PS4 as well. That was one that just it captured me so much that I just wanted to immerse myself fully into the story and just appreciate it. And it is one of the very few that I've completely platinumed on the PS4. So
that's it.
Yeah, it's
if they do it right, you can do it right. I think they had a good
list for God of War. It didn't feel like an absolute grind after you roll credits to just polish off the last few trophies.
Yeah,
well, that's it. If you finish it and you're satisfied, like there's a lot of games I finish, and when it ends, you ever feel like just empty void of, I don't want to end playing, but there's kind of nothing left to do. I've finished the story. I've finished all the extra side missions. I've got all them kind of kill counts, max upgrades. Yeah, what do? You just kind of aimlessly walk an empty world with no one left in it.
Link's Awakening for me this morning. I roll credits like I'd already collected all the heart pieces and secret seashells, and like everything's full of upgrades. Like, well, I guess I'm done.
Yeah, so I think it is great that the trophies do give you kind of that extra playability that if you want to jump back in, and it could even be just playing through it all again on a different difficulty. Like there's something like just to make you go back for outside of the story of the game itself. So I definitely think they need it, and I'd hate to think that Google are just going to launch it and ignore that kind of entire player base who's really keen on trophy hunting or achievement hunting. But I mean, I'm intrigued because again, they've got this brand new platform. It's theirs to do with what they want.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see what they actually do with it in terms of how do they make it unique to themselves, and is there going to be anything in addition to it compared to other platforms? Who knows? It's all speculation.
It could all fail epically by Christmas for all we know.
Thanks, guys.
And we're all sat here asking for
thanks for your money. We're off.
I've just got a controller on a shelf somewhere, and this will be a very short-lived podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah. You see a Chromecast Ultra out of it.
That is true. That is one of the benefits of buying the Founders Edition. I've got a lovely Ultra Chromecast for the TV downstairs now, which is great. So actually, I think we'll move over to another segment. I think we're probably running on just coming up 50 minutes now. So we do want to keep this nice and short, a bit within probably the hour for our first time listeners. We don't actually know how long we want these to go on for usually, but if you do end up liking the sound of our voices, then we may do them for a bit longer, but who knows?
I reckon if we just aim for like the 45 to 60 minute mark, we're probably good.
Yeah, an hour's good. An hour's TV show length. That's it. We won't go quite Lord of the Rings full feature extended edition on you guys just yet.
Maybe one day. We'll see.
So I think maybe it's just to wrap up with then. We can always leave future plans in the pipeline for later on. I think probably just wrap up with games we've played at the moment. I know, Richie, you mentioned Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know it's not Stadia, but guess what? Again, back to what I said earlier on, we can't play Stadia games as it stands. So this list might change differently. I mean, we've mentioned the ones I have played this year. Division 2, really enjoyed my time with that. I played the Trials games from Ubisoft. Really enjoyed just BMXing about up and down hills on that.
Brilliant.
I'm really hyped for Watch Dogs, but I'm currently playing Batman Arkham Asylum. I went back for the 10-year anniversary of that one, which again could be on Stadia. Will I go back another time this year? Who knows? But I think games I wanted to call this segment Games We Played Here. Just to go off the Stadia.
I read that in the doc and that cringed a little.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of segments that we kind of want to build into it. One of them, which we'll touch on probably in another episode, was Media by Stadia, and that's going to be the Stadia exclusives. Because I'm in my my little world of puns, and I'll keep doing that. So anything that rhymes with Stadia, feel free to email us and let us know, and we might use them for future segments. But yeah, we've touched on. The next Connect hopefully is imminent. We'll definitely record a podcast, I think, after the Connect to see how that goes. We'll definitely discuss, I think, Stadia exclusives in the next episode and what our hopes and dreams are for them, because they do have studios working on stuff. So we'll probably go into that a little bit. But yeah, what are you guys playing at the moment? What are your plans for the next couple of days, weeks of your lives?
Richie, now you're done with Link's Awakening? What's the plan?
Well, before Link's Awakening dropped, I actually was replaying The Witcher 3 because I'm at the moment about 3 trophies away from a platinum.
Fantastic.
It's a game I've wanted to... I played it on launch, and it's a game I've always wanted to go back to because I had such a backlog when I played it. It's like I didn't feel like I'd done enough, but I wanted to move on. So I've been replaying that. It's a lot of replaying for me this year, to be honest. Replayed the Uncharted games, again, going for the trophies.
So that trophy segment is quite important to you then as well.
Yeah.
You play anything this weekend? Yeah, I'm trophy hunting for 2 old games that are a few years old.
I'm trophy hunting Uncharted 2, which came out on the console I don't even own.
Hey, I went back and got the one on PlayStation 3 last month.
Amazing.
I'd got about 60% through, and I really enjoy the game and the story. So I thought, rather than play through it again on PS4, I'll dust off the old PlayStation 3. Remember how bad the controller was and how light it felt in my hand, and grinded out them kind of last few just to add it on there. So Witcher 3, that's definitely got to come to Stadia, surely. Cyberpunk's in the pipeline. It's on Switch now, for God's sakes. Imagine the teraflop difference between Witcher on Switch and Witcher. God, that's hard to say. Witcher on Switch, Witcher on Switcher, and Witcher on Stadia. It's got to come, hasn't it?
I can't imagine playing. See, I play my Switch on handheld most. I can't imagine playing that game on handheld.
It's definitely something that deserves the teraflops, I think.
Yeah.
That's got to be in the pipeline as well. So what about you, Tom? What are you doing?
Right now, I'm sort of in between things. I'm playing Borderlands 3 quite religiously at the moment. In the time I've got, I'm having a lot of fun with that. Just taking the story slowly, side quests, the usual thing. As you said before, just trying to appreciate the world, appreciate what's going on there. I'm also playing Nier Automata on the PS4 too, which I'm very late to playing that, but I'm really into it, like really interested in like the JRPGs and stuff. So the story there is incredible. Really enjoying it. Other than that, I'm just messing around with esports stuff, League of Legends and Overwatch still. So same old there, and I usually play that pretty much non-stop, constantly anyway. No big deal there.
Yeah, because that was Nier's exclusive as well, was it? Was it a timed exclusive?
I believe it's timed, yeah.
I think it came out on PlayStation, but I feel like I've seen stuff elsewhere for it now because it's been out over a year.
It is out on the Xbox One.
There you go then. So you can
That's a game I was interested in for a while, but I was again dealing with a backlog when it came out and just never got round to it, and I kind of forgot about it a bit.
Yeah, I was like that with Neo as well.
Stadia.
It's anything, just put it on there, and like I said, give it that kind of revitalized life, and I'd be surprised how many people don't see it or any of the listed games and just go, you know what, I would have played that back then, but now it's got this new lease of life that I can take anywhere. Why wouldn't I jump in and I think go through and play it? So looking at the list, so that's what you play at the moment. I think a big one, probably just before we wrap up, then off the back of what we're currently playing, big hitters that are missing from Stadia, can't ignore them. Fortnite, Apex Legends, all these big massive games, PUBG.
Yeah.
They're taking the world by storm. Like, they make the absolute millions for Epic and the other developers, but where are they?
Where are they, indeed?
So again, Fortnite's on mobile now.
Yep,
mobile.
It'll come.
The Americans in Texas out there.
Apex is just launching season 3 as well, which is
so
incredible.
there's a big section of the market. Some would say probably the biggest segment of the market currently.
What's the plan, Google? What's the plan?
But where's it at? Because again, in theory, it's like Fortnite's free. It's bloody everywhere. You can play it on a Tamagotchi, I think, at the moment.
Epic might not want to play ball with Stadia, since Epic is predominantly, they have the PC store, so they might see Stadia as direct competition. So they might go, we're not going to give you Fortnite because we want you to come to our platform to buy it.
That's true. Play it. And they have the millions.
Very true.
It wouldn't surprise me. But who has more millions, Richie? Epic or Google?
Google, definitely.
Google.
But,
and whose is more long-time investment? I'd say Google as well.
Yeah, but
again, it depends what Epic want to do with their
worthwhile for Google, the price, whatever the price is for it.
Well, exactly. It depends how much investment they kind of want to put in, but I can imagine it'll be there eventually. Like Sod's Law, after we record this, and there'll be a Connect announced next week, and they'll be like, oh, guess what? All your favorite Battle Royale games are coming to Stadia
they'll lead
as
up
well.
with Fortnite and end with PUBG.
Yeah, they'll literally lead with like a Google exclusive in Fortnite where, all the characters are search engines or something like that. Don't know how that would actually work.
Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So I think that brings us to a wrap, gentlemen. If there's anything else you want to mention before we wrap up,
I'm good.
That's about it. Excellent. So that has been our first episode of Sounds of Stadia with myself, Chris, my co-host Tom, and Richie. And you can find us on all of our social sites. So I think a big one for us is patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia. We've set that up so you can help us out in any way possible. It's always appreciated. Because we want to make this probably more than a hobby, I think, long term. We've all got together to discuss our plans and ideas for Stadia, but yes, we would love to quit our jobs and just do this for a living. But that only comes through generous donations. So you can check us out on patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia. If you give us a follow or a subscribe on YouTube or Twitter, also /Sounds of Stadia. On there, you'll be able to see the logo. That'll be up. And anything else, gentlemen? Are we good?
I think we're good.
We're good, excellent. So thank you for listening, everybody. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the subtle sounds of our voices. But the reality is, we really appreciate taking the time to listen to us today. And hopefully we'll be back soon with a new episode talking about the future of Stadia, any exclusives that may be coming, and probably a few more segments as well. Thank you very much.
Till next time.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Till next time. Goodbye.